Okay, so let me show you how we can interact with a RESTful API, right? So here we have on the left-hand side, the 5 operation that we just took a look at, right? Notice that we have a post, 2 gets, 1 delete, and 1 put. You see that, right? Under there, we can take a look at each one of these, right? So this one right here, create user, right? We can take a look at it on the right-hand side, how it's implemented. It's a post, right? This is a tool called POSTMAN. POSTMAN allows you to create all these requests, right? All these HTTP requests, and then test, remote APIs, right? So I've created here a post. I'm generating an HTTP post, right? I'm pointing to the URL that has been documented here, right? The URL has been documented. I believe it's right here. There's a URL, right? And there it is. So webdev generic server Heroku app.com, right? I've created this for you. In a couple of weeks, we will learn how to do this ourselves, right? And notice it starts with API, and notice that it ends with users. Make sense? Right? So that's what the style says, that it starts with /API/REST, and it ends with a noun. Now, because this URL, this server needs to be able to work for everyone here individually, right? I need to be able to distinguish, your data from somebody else's data. Right, so that's why I have modified a little bit the REST pattern, right? I'm breaking away from the standard, right? I'm adding here an additional parameter so that I can uniquely identify you, against somebody else. Make sense? Right, so the right before the noun users, right? You need to put some kind of a unique identifier that identifies you individually. Right? I'm using here my username. You can use whatever you want as long as you can guarantee that it uniquely identifies you. I'm suggesting you use your NU ID, but I don't care what you use as long as you can guarantee. Don't use mine, Giannuzzi, because you'll see lots of data in there that might not. If you all use Giannuzzi, then whatever you insert, somebody's going to delete, somebody's going to update. It's just going to be a mess, right? So use your unique some kind of unique identifier. So it's your data that you're manipulating. Make sense? Right? So all the examples that we're going to be using here are going to use my Giannuzzi, right? But when you use the code, make sure to replace that with your unique identifier, right? I call it an NUID, but you can use whatever you want. All right, so here's the post, and the way it works is that I need to embed the data that I want to send over to the server in the HTTP body, right? The request that goes out to the server. And so we can incorporate that. We can say we can click on body. We can say that the body is I'm going to provide the raw content of that body as text, right? A plain text, and the format that I'm going to use is a JSON format, right? What this means is that when the postman sends over the data over to the server, it's going to tell the server, hey server, I am sending you a string. But this is not any ordinary string. It's a string that is formatted in the JSON format. Okay, name value pairs, got a curly brackets and whatnot. And the server is going to say, thank you. That's exactly the format that I was expecting. Okay, because I can send anything really in the body. I can send a PDF document. I can send a Word document. I can upload an image. I can do whatever. Right? I can send anything to the server. So the server and the client need to agree, right, on the format of whatever is being transferred. Here, I'm telling the server, hey, server, I'm sending you a string formatted in the JSON format. Yes, it's a standard MIME type. Everybody good? So I'm sending Bob password, first name, last name. So that's one of them. There's also, that's this one right here, this post over here. There's also get all users. So here's a find all users. There it is. Again, it's users, yada, 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 API, Giannuzzi, whatever, right? Pointing there, and I can run it. I can say send. And it comes back with an array of all the users. In there, I have Bob, I have Alice, I have Giannuzzi, I guess twice. So these are pieces of information that I've been playing around, right? We're playing around this last night, and it returns as an array. So each one of these JSON objects, represents a user. In particular, I have Bob and Alice here, Also notice that there's a couple of other meta information in here. For instance, each one of these objects contain 3 metadata pieces, right? That is not actually part of the data that you care about. These are metadata information for my purpose, so I can identify you from someone else, and I call it NUID. See that? I call it NUID, so I can uniquely identify and I can return your data versus your data, right? Also, domain is so that it's useful so that you can generically store whatever you want. You can store users, actors, movies, recipes, sports teams, whatever you decide to store, right? And that's how the domain is used to be able to return to you whatever it is that you want. Make sense? All right, so that's some metadata for myself. Also notice that unique identifier, the primary key of these records is represented by _ID, right? That's what uniquely identifies all these records. Make sense? I'm going to use those. I'm going to need those so that if I want to remove something, I'll know the ID. It says, "Ooh, I want to remove the one who has that third primary key over there, so I can send a delete and remove a particular record." Or if I want the individual data of one particular record, I can also do that. Find me the third element there with that particular ID, and I can retrieve that. Make sense? So for instance, if I want Bob, I can grab that ID. I can then go here, find user by ID, and I can paste that ID here, right? And I can send that get, and then get back just that one Bob object, as opposed to the entire array. Make sense? Right? So there we go. So we have the create, right? We have the create. We have the get all, find all, and then find by ID. Let's just show you how to create one. So we'll go to a post, and let's create Bob. We'll create Dan. Okay, we'll create Frank Herbert. We'll create that. I guess I used the wrong username. Notice if I go back and find all users, notice that Frank is not here. But if I do a send again, notice that Frank is there. I guess somebody is posting to my. Is somebody posting here? Yeah. So there's Bob right there. I mean, there's Frank Herbert, who I just created, and I guess somebody's posting to this already. And then there's remove. Let's remove this intruding here. I can go to my delete and say, and I can post the ID. What did I? But somebody's posting something else. So delete, and I can delete that one person, send, and it says, yes, I was able to delete it. I can go back and find all users, and okay, it's not there anymore. Okay, so anyway, so those are the 5 CRUD operations, right, that you really need. Those are the only real CRUD operations that you need, unless you're doing the find. If you're doing the find, then we can chat about that, right? You can find a particular document that meets a particular criteria, right? That's a little more challenging, and we can talk about that if you decide. Anyway, so we've done this manually with this tool. Right, what we want to be able to do this is we want to be able to do this programmatically, right, from the user interface that we built, right, and be able to do just what we did here, but from JavaScript. We did it manually. We want to be able to do it programmatically from JavaScript. Yes? All right, let's do that.